I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Hiroki. Oh, that's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to tip your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
You come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. You here to make war? We surrender.
Important things are needed new people.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework planet. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. That means you're going to make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Birdo Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Birdo Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to Deep Space Nine Wednesday for September 1st, 2021. Is anyone else hearing static? It's weird. Anyway, hopefully the sound is okay for everyone. I think it is. Nobody's complaining. Hail Karoga, absolutely. No, I'm not late. A couple minutes early, in fact. We're all good. We're all good here. So today we are watching Season 5, Episode 25, In the Cards. And yes, there's actually another episode. Can you imagine? 26 episodes. This was not all that long ago, people. This was 1997, 26 episodes in a season. So we're at the penultimate episode, 25, in the cards. This is a fun episode, in my opinion. This is where Jake and Nog try to get a baseball card for Captain Sisko, and this mad scientist who buys it out from under them, thinks they work for the soulless minions of orthodoxy, and then a whole chain of events goes on that ends up with, well, I don't want to spoil the episode, but probably everybody's seen it, but maybe not in a long time. So we'll watch it. We'll have some fun. Definitely, I like this episode. But I can see how some people might not. I imagine this is an episode I like better than most. We'll see. I'll see what you guys' opinions are as we get into the episode. And John Araki with $1 super chat. Thank you so much, John Araki. Will it be Kissing Dax? Probably not, but you can always hope. Holy shit, it's Kissing Dax! I knew it, John. I knew it. If I said it wouldn't be Kissing Dax, that I'd be wrong. Congratulations. I knew it. The only way to force it was to say it wouldn't happen. Yes, Sassy. Exactly. Sassy's cheering too. Kissing Dax. Holy. Yes. Very good. Very good, John. Okay. So, not Ryan Johnson was first in the chat at 1 p.m. Eastern and says, hello in Qapla, hail Karoga, hail not Ryan Johnson. Kronos says first, and then he says, I hate you to not Ryan Johnson, even though not Ryan Johnson was an hour and 41 minutes before. Richie Poole says, yay, it's Deep Space Nine Wednesday. Welcome, Richie. Josh Street says, remember to make the evil, he means good, Bird of Prey, read your comments, use the app Bird of Prey 5. What'd you say, Mom? Or at Bird of Prey, I said, remember to make the good Bird of Prey, read your comments, use at Bird of Prey 5. Okay, Bird of Prey. I said what you want. Now let me hear it. Now let me out from your basement. And Josh, he says, if you want to watch along with Bird of Prey, go over and mark the screening room so that you can watch while Bird of Prey is streaming the episode or movies at www.birdofprey5.com/SR. Yeah, /SR. Life with Matthew says, Qapla, Bird of Prey, Qapla, Life with Matthew. Life with Matthew, Anti-Shrekker saying that you've been saying terrible things about the original series. And he's ratting you out. But a big thank you for doing that video premiere today on how to do basically the same thing I used today, the screenshot videos. I know Jedi Bill and other YouTubers had been asking me, and I did tell them I'd get around to doing the video at some point, and of course I never did. But now you got the video from the person who made the software, so that's much better to have the video from you. So that is the software I use to make my my videos that I play on YouTube on a day like today, or Cinema Saturday, or Twilight Zone Sunday. Josh says, remember to turn into Bird screening room on Wednesdays for Deep Space Nine, Saturdays for Karoga Mystery Movie Theater, and Sundays for The Scary Door, The Good Twilight Zone. Well, this Saturday is on Cinema Saturday is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. John Araki says, hoy, hello world, hoy, hello, oh, hi, hello world. Josh Reed says, not a fan of this episode with Nog and Jake trying to get a baseball card as the main plot of the episode. Well, I think it's a fun episode. It's the last episode before the war. Cronus says, all kids in Star Trek are brats. Prove me wrong. I don't know. I don't think I will try. Josh Reed says, hey, Kronos, formerly known as Mothman. Super Blubberpuss says, hello, guys. Hello, Super Blubberpuss. Kronos' bird is late. John Araki says, Asian, Muslim, Russian Borgs are the best choice to Kronos. No, it's not Alexander Momopre. It's John Araki. Alexander's works a lot these days. You very rarely see him. Only at Anti-Trekker streams. And a thank you to Anti-Trekker, who I know while he is streaming, he did put out the word that if anybody wanted to come over, that I had started streaming. So thank you to him. That's nice of him. Pflugerville says, hail to Kronos. And yes, if anybody doesn't know, if you prefer to watch Anti-Trekker play Minecraft, he is on Twitch playing Minecraft. and you can head over there if you are so inclined. Kronos is Bird of Prey. Hello, world. Qapla, Qapla. And Josh Street says, about time, Lato Prey 5. But right now, you're mute, O Prey 5. I'm not muted. I am not muted. Hail, Karoga, says Dave G. Kronos is what to pray. Greetings from Columbus, Ohio, Mike Richards. Greetings, Mike Richards. Kronos is saying hello to everybody. Dave G. Sound is saying hey to Kronos. Josh Street says, is bird talking? I see the voice thing moving, but no sound. There's no way that I'm muted this whole time. God damn it, if I do this. Holy shit. Are you guys really not hearing me? Wait. Are you guys? You sons of bitches. You heard me just fine. Motherfucker, you scared the shit out of me. God damn it, my heart can't take this shit. My heart can't take this. Where were we? John Araki with a super chat. Thank you. John, Kronos is Bird of Prey. It's been a long road. Getting from there to here, it has been. Dave G says he loves this episode. Thank you, Dave. Kronos is Bird of Prey. You can spoil it. And Josh G says, oh, son of a bitch, I pulled the Bird of Prey and muted my TV. Kronos is Bird of Prey. Too much Jake. John Araki goes, booyah. Kronos says he's kissing the Borg Queen. Oh, he says Borg Queen. John Araki says, got to go get a Powerball ticket and keep this luck running. Absolutely. And we split Powerball 50-50 if you win. Josh Reed says, go buy a lottery ticket to John. Kronos says, Sassy is what? Yeah, Sassy was barking. Kronos says, hey to Mama Pray. Dave G says, glad. Now we can watch before dinner. What's wrong with the OG series? I don't know. Life with Matthew. What's wrong with TOS? Josh, Life with Matthew says, Bird of Prey. I said Star Trek DMP. Oh, TMP, the motion picture, was a slog of a movie, and I stand by that. I agree. The motion picture was the worst of the first 6 movies. Jeff says the director's cut improves it, so I'll check it out. It might improve it, but there's no way it improves it enough to knock it out of last place. Hell, though, unless they digitally replace all those uniforms. And let's face it, we know they didn't. Chrono says, don't hate the motion picture. Jedi Bill says, hello, Bird of Prey, Qapla, Brother Warrior, hail, Kroger, hail, Jedi Bill. And Jedi Bill, we want you to stream, Jedi Bill. We want you to stream. Beefer Dash Nobbit says, what's the timestamp for the DS9 watch party? Oh, I didn't start it yet, Beefer. We're going to start in just a couple minutes. If you want to watch, head over to birdoprey5.com/SR and in another tab or another browser or another device if you're on mobile, and you can watch perfectly synced with us. Otherwise, if you have your own copy on DVD or from Paramount Plus or Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime Video or anywhere else it might be streaming, go get it queued up, and we'll start it at the beginning in just a couple minutes. Let's see. Hello all, 5x5. Thank you. Yes, they were scamming me, Game of Thrones. Qapla. I know, every effing time I fall for it. Mike Richards says 5x5. Jedi Bill says, I can hear you just fine. Qapla, brother work. Qapla, Jedi Bill. John Aragi says, Dear Twitch, Birdo Prey 5 is very dismissive of Minecraft skills. How can I block him? Thanks, the Salty Tracker. Chronos says, Birdo Prey ST5 was the worst. No, it wasn't. 1 was the worst. Chronos says, Bird is catching up in the chat. Type faster. No, I skipped a whole bunch. If you want me to read your chat, you got to put at Birdo Prey 5 in the chat, and I won't skip it. That's the only way. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get ready to watch. Head on over to the screening room at birdoprey5.com/SR if you don't have your own copy. And I will count down from 5 and then hit play. It'll take a few seconds to start. Then if you're watching only on YouTube, you will get a screenshot in the view screen, but it'll be like 1 every 10 seconds or so. It'll just so you have some idea where we are while I'm talking. Okay. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, load and hit play. And we have ignition. And we've got the Sisko. And he's sitting at the dinner table. And Jake and Nog are for some reason, the wait staff, waiting on all the senior officers. Nog was about to take the alcohol away from Chief O'Brien. He says, Chief O'Brien says the Tiananmen went missing by the Cardassian border. He says, Kira says it's 3 ships in 3 weeks. And Bashir says we're going to run out of ships at this rate. Kira says, not funny. Bashir says, unless Starfleet Command actually starts doing something about it. Wasn't meant to do funny. Now, Sisko says, let's talk about something else. He's asking about Yoshi. Is he walking yet? And O'Brien just says, no, not yet. Well, Odo, how about you? I hear you're going to Bajor. And he's like, actually, I've canceled the trip to Bajor. There's been a 75% jump in theft of medical supplies and food rations. He hasn't seen such an increase since... And then he stops talking. O'Brien says, well, since when? And since just before the Cardassians abandoned the station. Sisko is not going well for Sisko. Bashir says on that note, he'll turn in. O'Brien excuses himself as well. Thanks him for dinner, says it was wonderful. Odo leaves. Sisko says goodnight to everyone. And then Worf is in the corner. He says, Mr. Worf, you've been paroled. The party's over. Worf wasn't even paying attention. He was pretending to admire some artwork in the corner. The thing I used to do at parties. And so Sisko tells Jake and Nog they don't have to bother cleaning up. He'll do it later. He wants to be alone for a while. Nog tells him good night. Jake gives him a kiss on the head. And Sisko then gets a call from Ops. And they just received a message from Bajor. Kai Wynn is coming in the morning and she wants to meet with you. As if the day couldn't get any worse. And then we get a face palm. So now we're at Quarks, and Nog says, thanks for the invitation, Jake. That was a lot of fun, very sarcastically. And Jake is like, do you see how down my dad is? Nog is saying, everybody's like that. And Jake is saying, yeah, but he's usually the one that still that keeps everybody else from feeling bad. Now, Quark is saying there's going to be an auction tomorrow. An auction of the galaxy's most rarest and valuable items here at the bar. And he gives a list of stuff. to Nog. He's like, find something you like and make a bid for all the latinum you got stashed under your bed. And Nog gets really scared. He's like, no, Nog, not really under your bed, is it? Oh, Quark is just conducting the auction. And it was found aboard an old derelict freighter, a light year from here. The cargo hold was crammed with valuable oddities and antiques, paintings, and Nog reading the list says it's just junk. Listen to this. Mid-24th century ceramic water basin, slightly cracked. Tellarite shoes, date unknown. A mint 20th century Human baseball card. Baseball card. Jake takes it. A Willie Mays Rookie card, mint condition. This is it. This is perfect. This is how he could cheer up his dad. You know how much he loves baseball. He'll go nuts when he sees this. Well, he's getting bid at 1,200 hours. And Jake's like, no, I'm going to bid on this. He wants to do something nice for his dad for a chance. All he's got to do is get him this card. How hard can that be? Well, you just go to the replicator and tell him to bring up this Willie Mays baseball card, and you give it to your dad. That's the work living in the future. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, he needs the real card. Dun, 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 dun. Kronos says everyone is gloomy and doomy. You know, Kronos, it sounds like my week. Do, 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 do. What to do? Oh, that's right. Get a card. Smacks forehead. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, at least Garfield is happy. Dun, 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 dun. Game of Thrones is Kai Wynn, known for the win. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Beefer Dagnabbit says Kai Wynn played Nurse Ratchet. And Chrono says Kai is a hot, steaming mess of Turtistan. Absolutely. Dun, da, da, da. I'm singing the theme. Dun, da, da, dun, da. Dun, dun, da, da. I can't sing the theme and read the chat at the same time. Chrono says, Bird of Prey, the next episode is one of the greats. A Call to Arms is next week. The season finale of season 5. Hello, young sir, says 47 Yorktown. Okay, so this is a great conversation between Jake and Nog about money. And he says, Nog says not his fault that his species abandoned currency-based economics for some philosophy of enlightenment. And Jake says, hey, there's nothing wrong with our philosophy. He says, it means we don't mean money. Nog says, well, if you don't need money, then you certainly don't need my money. And hey, speaking of money, the Random Menace with a €2 super chat says, no need for the screening room. This is much better. What? Thank you. So Nog is saying it took him a lifetime to save up that money. He's not going to throw it away for a baseball card. Now, I will point out that when Nog was getting ready to go into Starfleet Academy, he brought his life savings to Commander Sisko and offered it to Commander Sisko in exchange for him to write the recommendation, because that's the way a Ferengi does business. So technically, that money would have gone to Sisko either way. So Jake human guilts Nog into giving him the money since it's for his father, who got him into Starfleet Academy to begin with, and is letting him live the life he's choosing to live. Darius McMuchhausen, Qapla, Darius. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Darius. He's doing his own streams these days. Off to a great start. And Kai Wynn is back. He says, welcome to Deep Space Nine, Your Eminence. And Kai Wynn dismisses Kira. And so Kai Wynn says, why don't we take a walk? And Sisko's like, a walk? Yeah, it's like, come on, will you mind? Kronos says, Jake likes to spend other people's money. And so Kai Wynn is saying there used to be a shop down there, a Bajoran woman that sold tapestries. So, yeah, Sisko knows her by name. She moved to the Turidan system a couple months ago. Kai Wynn says a lot of people have left DS9 in the last few months. You must feel like a failure. So Sisko's like, forgive me, I have a busy day. What is it you want to talk about? She's here to meet a representative of the Dominion. Who? She doesn't know what it's about. She doesn't know. It's being held at their request. And Sisko says, the Dominion is notorious for their political intrigue. And Kai Wynn says, I have some experience in that. But it's a delicate situation. The conflict between the Federation and Dominion could become open warfare at any moment. A misstep now could destroy Bajor. And Sisko's like, for once, I'm in complete agreement. He'll do whatever it can to safeguard Bajor. She says, walk with the prophets. Sisko looks at her and looks out the window. Ah, the bid is to you, says Quark. So we've got the auction going off at the bar. A blue guy bids 3 strips. 1 bar, 3 strips. So now 1 bar, 4 strips. So a Klingon woman is bidding, and the money goes to Bajoran War Orphans Fund, minus a modest commission. Think how much your latinum will mean to them. Now, 1 bar, 3 strips is what it is. To the blue man in the good shoes, says Quark. Lot 48, this is the one they want. A pre-Serac Vulcan bracelet, a 6th century Bajoran mandala, a transdater, a Willie Mays baseball card from Earth, dated 1951. Biddings at 1 bar. Jake opens 1 bar. Do I hear 1 bar, 5 strips? And a Bajoran Vedic bids 1 bar, 5 strips. And Nog says, don't worry, he'll drop out of 2 bars. Jake says, how do you know? He's still a Ferengi. So Jake and Nog bid 1 bar 10, 1 bar 15, 1 bar 20 for Nog, 125. And then some other guy says 2 bars. Does he hear 2 bars 5? Nope, the Vedic is not in. Okay, 2 bars 5 from Nog. Oh, right up to 3 bars. 4 bars, says Nog, says Jake. And the other guy goes 10 bars. Everybody's looking at him. Quark is like, oh my God, 10 bars. Is there another bid? Jake is like, what do we do now, Nog? And Nog's like, nothing, we're out of money. Jake is pissed. Sold to the gentleman sitting in the aisle for 10 bars. And now a rare example of a 20th century painting, acrylic painting. It was the inspiration for the first Martian colony flag. And later we're going to see Morn has bought that painting. So Nog is like, we can come up with something else to cheer up your dad. A new pair of shoes. He says, what's wrong with shoes? He says, nothing's wrong with shoes, except they're stupid, says Jake. He just wanted to bring some joy, something special. That baseball card is the answer. It's Kismet. I don't know, Kismet, fate, destiny? He was meant to give that card to his father. Kronos is bird of prey. We need to bring the Romulans into the war. That will perhaps happen. Yes, it will at some point. Anyway, Jake is saying that his father's never let him down. He's always been there for him. And right now, he needs him. He can't let him down. He says, Nog, please, let's get the card. What are you asking, Jake? For Nog to rob the guy? And he says, okay, what do you want to do? And there's Morn carrying that painting. So this is everybody getting their stuff out. So now they ask the guy who bought it. And they're like, sir, we want to speak. We wish to discuss a business transaction. He says he's not interested. And they're like, I just want the baseball card. He says, listen, I won't be hunted by the soulless minions of orthodoxy. Stay away. I haven't broken any laws, except perhaps the laws of nature. So stay away from me. And he takes a turbo lift to the habitat ring. That's not weird at all. Kronos says, can I spoil alert here? You can, Kronos. I just might not read it. And there is Wayun. He says you can't say how happy he is to see him again. And he's like, oh, how delightful you're comfortable enough to make jokes. He's so pleased to see his relationship evolving. He says, no, it's not. But before you twist that into a compliment, I don't like the Dominion, I don't like what it stands for, and I don't like you. So just get down to business. Oh, it pains Wayun to hear him say that. He's like, he really likes Deep Space Nine, and he likes Sisko. And after his meeting with Kai Wynn, he thinks they'll be seeing a lot more of each other. And a couple of Jem'Hadar bodyguards, and a couple of Starfleet bodyguards. So Nog is happy. He's like, Jake, he wants to see us. Dr. Giger, the man who bought the baseball card, he just left a message. He wants to see us at 1800 hours. That's 10 minutes from now. So Jake is running. He's very happy. So Nog says, remember, let him do the talking. So Nog says, stand aside, let a professional handle this. So they go into his quarters, and it's not what they were expecting. The quarters are filled with equipment and this weird egg chamber. And he says, step out of the doorway, please, and don't touch anything. Kronos says, I really don't like Kuroga, and I don't like you. Just kidding. And Kronos also says, I've been muted. Yes, sure. So anyway, this guy checked up on the guy, he said, Jake, you're the station commander's son, and you're a Starfleet. To Nog, he's like, so since you're not with the soulless minions of orthodoxy, we'll do business with them. So he said, but the card's not for sale. He can trade the card, however, in exchange for this list of items. So Nog goes and gets the list. 2 liters of something, metabolite suspended in whatever. A neodymium power cell. Like, where are we supposed to get this stuff? He says, I'm sure the station commander's son and a promising young cadet have access to things that he doesn't. He says, Nog is like, wait, what are we planning to do with this stuff? He can't deliver equipment and medical supplies without knowing what you're going to do with it. So he says, very well. Let me ask you a simple question. Do you want to die? Uh-oh. No, says Nog. Not really. He says, of course you don't. Why should anyone have to die? There's no reason he can think of anyone has to die. He devoted his life to the study of death, and he found it's preventable. It's the result of cellular boredom. The cells of your body do the same thing over and over and over. Replicate, divide, metabolize, replicate, divide. You get bored. Everybody gets bored. At some point, the cells just give up. Buffer Dagnabit says Jeffrey Combs is the lead actor in Reanimator. And Chrono says, I like Combs as Shran the best. And Chrono says, Bird of Prey, my cells are bored. I think all our cells are bored. Although watching DS9 helps keep them entertained. So anyway, this guy who had this original theory died in a shuttle accident, or so they say. So the unholy minions of orthodoxy might have caught up with him. He was laughed out of the scientific community. He's finally done it, begging and squadging for materials across the quadrant. He's nearly completed his work. The cellular regeneration and entertainment chamber. You spend 8 hours a day in that. It's specially designed to transmit biogenic energy on a something wavelength and send uplifting and entertaining messages to your nuclei of every cell in your body. Spend 8 hours a day in the machine and your cells will never get bored. They'll never grow old. And most importantly, you will never die. Chrono says, I would like to have an entertainment coffin. Says that's the goal of his work. Immortality. So Jake and Nog excuse themselves for a minute, which means step 2 feet further away so he can't hear them. And he says, what do you think? And Nog says, I don't know. He's no expert in science and chemistry, but it seems odd. And Jake's like, yeah, he had been going for a minute, but this is bullshit. And Nog says, he's crazy, isn't he? Jake says, completely, but he does have the baseball card. He says, so we have to help. Nog says he doesn't think it's a great idea. And Jake says, we can't let my dad down. Nog says, let your dad down. He doesn't even know it exists. He says he's just a little obsessed. So Jake says, okay, doctor, we're in. And he puts out his hand to shake his hand. And the doctor says, do you know how many germs are transmitted by a handshake? Haven't you ever heard of COVID-19, Jake? Just nod your head. Yeah, they nod their heads. No handshakes in the future. So they go to O'Brien and they need a neodymium power supply. He says, that's an unusual piece of equipment. Why do you need it? And Nog is about to tell him why, but Jake stops him and says, you can't tell him. He says, tell him you're trying to give your father a gift. He says, no, it's got to be a surprise. You can't keep a secret. If he tells him, then O'Brien's going to tell Keiko. Keiko's going to tell Dax. So, okay. So now Nog is like, well, we'll show him something about incentive-based economics. So he's like, Chief, wouldn't you rather be doing something else right now? And O'Brien says, almost anything. He's like, something specific, like going to the Hollow Suite. And he's like, sure. And he says, wouldn't you rather be kayaking? You probably haven't been in those rapids in weeks. No interruptions, no maintenance, just you and the river. And he says, that's what I'd be doing if Deckard hasn't gotten sick. But he has to recalibrate all these EPS regulators so they don't interfere with the station's gravity grid. And Nog is like, what if someone else did it for you? Someone like us. You mean a Starfleet cadet and a civilian? Sure, I'll give over this very important task to a cadet and a civilian. That's fine. And about that power cell, oh yeah, he knows where there's one. I'll have it sent up to your quarters. Kronos says, why not live and die in the same box? Masket or casket, says Beefer. Kronos is bird of prey. Have you heard of influenza? I have. Kronos is bird of prey. All of this for a freaking card that they could make from the replicator. So now Bashir wants to know what they want this analgesic cream or whatever, not cream, this stuff. So he's like, Jake is like, wouldn't you be doing something else right now? And Bashir's like, no, this is the first chance he's had to do this research. So Nog says, you seem unhappy. He says he is feeling a little down. If you had to name one thing that would make you feel better, what would it be? And he says he's not sure. Bashir, Nog says, one thing, humor me. Bashir wants the name of his bear. His stuffed bear, Qapla. If you bring him back to him, you'll earn yourself the hydrosaline solution. Qapla, that's it, Qapla. So the Qapla is his bear, and Lita is sleeping with the Qapla bear in her arms. Nog has broken into her quarters in his Starfleet uniform and is now touching her, and she's holding it in her chest. So he had to put his hand on her chest to try to remove the bear. And now she's taken his arm instead. And now Ram blows into her ear to get her to unhand the bear and his arm. And he switched a pillow for the bear. And now Nog is leaving through the ventilation duct, perfectly sized for Nog. Very, very creepy that Nog can go into anybody's quarters in the middle of the night with no alarms and go right to their beds and do God knows what to them. So Kai Wynn is saying that Wayun wants to sign a non-aggression pact with Bajor. Kronos says, can you make an accurate card from the replicator? I don't see why not, Kronos. They've got picture of the card. They know what material it was made out of. There's no reason you couldn't make a perfect replicated card. Kronos' bird of prey. Nog is creepy. He is. Very creepy. And now Kai Wynn is like, can you promise me that not one Jem'Hadar soldier would step foot on Bajor? Would you sacrifice other worlds like Vulcan or Andor or Banagarian or even Earth itself to save Bajor? And of course, Sisko says he can't make that type of promise. And Kai Wynn says, I wouldn't believe you if you did. So that's her predicament. If she allies herself with the Federation against the Dominion, she risks becoming the first casualty of the next war. And Sisko says, but if you ally yourself with the Dominion, you risk becoming the next conquered world. And he says, a most unhappy choice, she admits. She's like, listen, I came here because I need the prophets. I asked the prophets to guide me, but they don't answer her prayers. She even consulted the Orb of Wisdom. It told her nothing. So she comes to Sisko as emissary. You've heard the voice of the prophets. You were sent here to guide us. So guide me. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. How can she save Bajor? And she's like, you want my advice? Says Sisko. Yeah. This is his advice. Stall. Tell Wayun you have to consider it. Bring it up with the Council of Ministers. Or you have to think about it. But you need to stall for time. She's like, for what? What would the time bring us? Sisko says, he doesn't know. But he does know the moment of crisis hasn't yet happened. And until that happens, you have to keep Bajor's options open. And he knows it's difficult for her. But this time, they have to trust each other. She has to trust him, at least. And she feels his ear. And very well. His paw is very strong. He put each other in the emissary's hands. May he walk with the prophets. Just not for another couple seasons. Kronos is Odo failing at his job. Absolutely. Kronos is Gul Dukat, Wind guy. Winter, yeah. So, Dr. Gagus? So Jake comes over. He's got half the stuff he wanted. He's where's the hydrosaline solution? It's coming, says Jake. So this guy just put something into a computer and it turned on a bunch of equipment. Says, do you know what that is? It's the sound of immortality. And you see it, and the camera pans up to the ceiling. And then we find out who is in the quarters right above him. Why, it's Wayun and his Jem'Hadar. And Wayun has his ear to the floor and asks, what's going on down there? And we might remember, I don't know if it's a past or a future episode, I think it's a future episode, that the Vorta have excellent hearing, but terrible eyesight. So Wayun is like, what's going on down there? He's very confused. And now we hear Nog listening to Klingon opera very loudly. And Jake is getting angry that he's working out there. And Nog is like, he's got to listen to Worf's opera recordings to filter out the subharmonic recordings. And Jake is like, he has to do a speech for Kira to the water reclamation department. He's got to make it more funny. And Nog says, no, he's got to do this because if he had just told them why he needed the plasma from the Defiant, Worf would have just given it to him. And Jake says, I told you why we can't tell anybody. Says, tell him thank you for inviting me to address you. I always thought it odd the topic of water replication was always treated as such a dry topic. And he says, is that funny? And Nog says, no. But yeah, it was funny. Jake says, I didn't think so either. And Nog turns the music back on. So Jake and Nog are bringing all the rest of the stuff to Dr. Giger's quarters. He's not answering the door. He says he's probably sleeping in his cellular entertainment coffin again. Oh, but the door is not locked. Okay, so open the door. And the quarters are completely empty. Completely bare. It's like nobody was ever there. Dun, dun, dun. So now they're at Odo, and Odo says there's no record of Dr. Giger being assigned to those quarters. And Nog says maybe the soulless minions of orthodoxy caught up with him. Odo's like, oh. Jake is like, we don't know who they are, but they were after his cellular entertainment and regeneration chamber. It's like it's a device used to keep your cells from getting bored. He was going to transmit messages to cells to keep them entertained so they wouldn't die. So as a result, these people would live forever. And Odo was like, okay, So now they're leaving. And Naga says, do you really think they're going to charge us with filing false reports and obstructing justice? He says, I can't have this on my academy record. And now this is a great part. So Jake looks up and sees Kai Wynn talking with the Vedic who bid against them in the auction. And Nog is like, Jake, I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm not going to like it. And this is it. He says, Jake says, don't you see? The Vedic was bidding on the lot because it was old Bajoran artifact. He must have been working for the Kai. And when he lost, the Kai must have gotten angry. And we know how dangerous she is when she's angry. And he says, what are you saying? Says Nog. That in order to get the mandala, he kidnapped Giger? And he says, Jake is saying, it's all making sense now. Nog says, Jake, I'm really starting to worry about you. He says, I want to introduce you to a new human expression. We're going to beard the lion in its den. Lions, Gigers, bears, says Nog. Oh my, says Jake. So Kai Wynn is walking with Wayun. Wayun says do you know if you'll be giving the first minister a positive review? Kai Wynn says she can't reveal her recommendations. You understand. Says, of course, he apologizes for even asking. It's enough to know that they found so many common interests. They feel we are very much alike, says Wayun. And Kai Wynn touches his ear and says, no, in the smile. No, you're nothing alike. Nothing at all. And you know what? That's probably the biggest compliment she could give you. So she walks to her quarters, and there's Jake and Nog standing outside her door. And she said, what is it, my children? And Jake says, we need to talk. And then we cut to Sisko and says, you accused the Kai of kidnapping? And he's like, Jake is like, we didn't technically accuse her of anything. And he wants to know what happened. And Nog starts saying it all started at Uncle Quark's bar. And Jake says, yeah, we're at the bar and I guess we got drunk. And Nog is like, Captain, I'd like to separate my defense. And he's like, as you were, cadet. He's like, drunk. I see my faith in the two of you was sadly misplaced. You both are confined to quarters until further notice. Dismissed. Oh. Poor Nog. He didn't want to tell the truth. He said, of course not. If you tell him the truth, he might forgive us. He might even be grateful for all the work we did just to make him happy. And we certainly don't want that. So now they're on the turbo lift. And he says, once we get the card, everything will be fine. Nog says, as your friend, I think you're starting to go over the edge. You need to get some perspective. You need to get away, clear your head. And then they get beamed out by a Dominion transporter. So they're beamed into what looks like Dr. Giger's quarters again, although all his equipment there, and there's a couple of Jem'Hadar with weapons. And oh, they're on the Dominion ship, excuse me. So they're kept waiting, and Weyoun comes out from a back room, and he sits down. This is another great scene in this episode. My favorite, one of my favorites. And Weyoun says, "Do you think I'm a fool?" And no. He says, "Let's start at the beginning. What is the nature of your relations with Dr. Giger?" He says, "We barely know him," says Jake. "He had a baseball card he wanted to give to his father to cheer him up." He's like, "My father's a station commander, by the way." Weyoun is like, "I know who you are." He says, "Go on, that's it." He wanted the card, so he agreed to give him a few things for his research. We were going to give it to him, but he disappeared 3 hours ago, and I haven't seen him since. So Weyoun gives the old eye to one of the Jem'Hadar, and he says, "Do you really expect me to believe everything you've done for the last 22 hours is perfectly innocent? That was a mere coincidence that he was running experiments with highly charged particles directly under his quarters, and an innocent explanation to the secret meetings he's had with the entire senior staff of Deep Space Nine? Or that Kai Wynn met with you immediately after leaving him? He suggests you stop playing games and tell him the truth quickly." And Jake is like, "This is just a misunderstanding. Nothing's going on. There's certainly no secret plot." Anyway, Dr. Giger comes in, and he looks at Jake and Nog. He says, "You betrayed me. You told me over to soulless minions of orthodoxy. Well, they'll not discover the secret of my work without a fight." And the Jem'Hadar walk over, and he gives it up. And Weyoun says, "So there are secrets after all." And he's like, "Jake, let's be friends. There shouldn't be any secrets between friends, Jake." Kronos says Nog should have been hanged for sneaking into Lita's room. And Kronos says, "Yay, addressing down." Okay, now Jake is going to tell him the real truth. They weren't supposed to divulge this, but since they left no choice, he touches Nog on the shoulder. "We're working for Starfleet Intelligence." Nog says, "Oh no." He says, "Forget it, Nog. We have to tell him. We're investigating the man whose picture is in your hand right now. Until yesterday, that man, one Willie Mays, didn't exist in any historical document. Then, in the blink of an eye, that card appeared on the station. And at the same moment, a bust of Willie Mays appeared at the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. There's only one explanation. We suspect that this man is from the future. A time traveler," says Weyoun. "And that so far, that card is the only link we have to him. We must find out what he's planning to do. It could all depend on it. The entire future of the galaxy depends on us tracking down Willie Mays and stopping him." And Dr. Giger is even rolling his eyes. And Nog is shaking his head. And Weyoun says, "I believe you." And everybody looks at Weyoun like he's crazy. And Weyoun says, "Yes, that is, I believe your first story. That you're two innocent boys trying to give a gift to Captain Sisko." And Jake says, "You're very wise. But it still begs the question, what were you doing beneath their quarters?" Nog says he's harmless. He's just working on ways to become immortal. And Weyoun says he has a background in creative genetics. He'd love to discuss immortality. He says, "Well, it might take some time to explain. But let me ask you a question. Do you want to die?" And Nog says, "Excuse us, can we leave?" Of course, says Wayun. And Wayun says, aren't you forgetting something? The card. You got to take the card. Captain's log. 2 days ago, the station felt like a tomb. He never seen so much of his crew down and out. But for some reason, it feels like a new wind has swept through the station. A gust of fresh air through a still house. He doesn't know why. Anyway, everybody, we got O'Brien just got off the holodeck. Bashir's got his bear back. Kira's speech went well. Lita's looking for the bear. Worf is listening to his opera. So he's like, oh, and Wayun is going in the cellular entertainment chamber. So Sisko says, maybe the real answer is even in the darkest of times, you can always find something to make you smile. And he gives a handshake to Nog and a hug to Jake as a big thank you for the baseball card. Kronos' DSG got it right. Baseball is dead in the DS9 got it right. Baseball is dead in the near future. Yeah, Kronos, I'm pretty sure they did. And Kronos says, my bad, baseball is dead already. Kronos' Bird of Prey, can this episode finally end already? It just did. A mighty wind. It's a mighty wind. Kronos' Lita needs a snuggle friend. Buffer, goddammit, says, dagnabbit, says, great episode. I agree. Like I said, I know not everybody's going to agree with me, but this was a real fun, feel-good episode of Deep Space Nine. And a good way to, I don't want to say to end it, but a good way to end off, because next week with the next week's episode, A Call to Arms, is the beginning of the Dominion War arc. That, of course, is the season 5 finale, and then the first, I think, 6 episodes of season 6. Or maybe even longer than that. Actually, no, it goes quite a ways, but those are 6 episodes tied into each other intimately. And then the war goes on for the rest of the season. So, and into the 7th, of course. So, yeah, this is it. This was like our last pre-war DS9 episode. Lol Doug Nobbit. And Random Menace wants to entertain his cells now. Well, it's nighttime for you, Random Menace. You can entertain your cells under your sheets. D.D. Myers is Qapla, Bird of Prey. Thanks for a good episode. You're welcome, D.D. Glad you enjoyed it. Cronus says, this is a good episode? Absolutely. And Dee says, Bird of Prey, hope you and the family are doing good. Thank you, Dee. Thank you. So with that, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. Next week, Call to Arms. Again, this Saturday will be Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This Sunday will be 3 more episodes of The Twilight Zone. Tomorrow will be, of course, my review of Star Trek Lower Decks, episode 4, season 2, episode 4 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Thank you so much, Aravic Sonder, with a $1 super chat. Appreciated. Last night, if you didn't notice, I put out a 20-minute review of the 90-second opening credits to Star Trek Prodigy that was released yesterday. So check that out, please, on the channel if you haven't. It is up. Like I said, it's my 20 minutes of commentary on 90 seconds of opening credits. Might be a new record as to how much commentary per actual minutes of content there was. I didn't mean for it to be 20 minutes. It's just the way it worked out. And then Friday, of course, will be Bed Life, as usual. Wesley Crusher, hey Wes, is off to work he goes. Wesley says, what is baseball? I don't know, Wes. But I tell you, that season 1 episode where all the characters, all the imaginary people come to life, and the Asian guy, the baseball player, he was in the last World Series. I forget his name, but he followed Jake off out of the holosuite, and he just came and talked to Sisko for a while. He's like he was in the field during the last World Series, and there was only 300 fans in the stands or something like that. It's basically what's going to happen. Although it probably will be even less than that. Probably will be 0 fans in the stand. Anyway, that's a little sad. But yeah, they killed baseball, and I forget who it was. If it was, I forget who. One of the writers, one of the DS9 writers, not Iris Stephen Bear, one of the other ones, was the biggest baseball fan in the world, and he killed baseball. He killed baseball in DS9 in the Star Trek universe. It's part of the documentary, What We Left Behind. Off to work you go. Later, everyone. Later, Wes. Qapla all. And yes, Dax was horny for the doc in that episode. Buck Bokai, says Mike Richards. That's the one. Yep. Mar Krell, that's deep. Where's Mar? I don't see Mar. Oh, there's Mar Krell. Baseball is like soccer. Lots of people play with one ball, and no one really wants it, so they throw it or beat it with a stick. Unlike football, everybody jumping on it. Kronos is Qapla and later taters. Qapla all. Bird out. I need to do a better outro. We'll work on outros. Qapla. But wait, there's more. The video might be over, but there's more fun to be had. First, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have clicked that bell icon to get notifications of new videos in your YouTube feed. Share this video on social media to help this channel fight the algorithm that favors big media. Also check out www.birdoprey5.com for links to my other channels, various social media accounts, merch store, Dear Bop, affiliate links, and all your Birdo Prey 5 needs. At the main Birdo Prey 5 YouTube channel, you can find all sorts of live streams and unlisted videos, YouTube membership options, and a community section with polls and updates on the channel. On the secondary channel, Birdo Prey 5X, you can find overflow content that doesn't always make the main channel. Subscribe to both channels, please. Thanks for watching. Remember, I stream almost every day. This is Birdo Prey 5 saying goodbye, world. Until next time. P.S. Hail Sassy, hail Charlie, and of course, hail Kuroga.